they woke him up. Also, real quick, I was listening to Dr. Corsi last night and about all the stuff on 8chan and how releasing, I mean, is that kind of like the ace in the hole, to get
I've been told by 5 different Pentagon sources, high level, that whole 8chan thing is real and that they're basically forecasting what they'd like to see happen and giving you information. But so that's definitely real. And that's why Corsi's been, I'll let you know because the enemy knows, the White House directly asked Corsi to be on the 8chan beat a month ago. So, I mean, that's directly from the White House.
Dr. Corsi is so smart. And then one other thing,
but I mean, what does that say about QAnon? Whether it's, I mean, we're being told by the White House, please cover this. So what does that tell you? I mean, that's incredible. Hold on. Stay right there. We'll be right back on the other side with our real QAnon. Stay with us. This isn't a game. It's not a drill. It's not make-believe. We're not LARPing here. This is not live-action role-playing. This isn't Fantasyland. This is the real world, and Zach is a real high-level intelligence source whose information has just continued to turn out to be stunningly good. And that's why the FBI has come and questioned him once and taken him to the military base the other time and held him and then released him. And I think it's important that people understand that people like Assange and people like Zach put themselves at great risk and in just defense of basic human liberty. Meanwhile, and he's not giving us anything secret. He's just giving us analysis and his view, and he's been really accurate so far. And you see the storm that's here. Let me ask you to finish your points, and then I got a few questions, and Millie has some here. But first, what do you make of QAnon and that stuff that's going on? What do you make of the stuff going on at 8chan? Zach?
Let me be very careful when I say this. QAnon is not singular, it's plural. It is, or we are, it's pillars holding up a platform that is the Republic of the United States.
Okay, very interesting. Other key points you want to get across people about what's going on behind the scenes?
I guess what I'm trying to say by that is it's not like one individual, it's one phenomenon. Or
I understand it's a consortium of people.
It's very few, less than you could count on one hand.
Yeah.
But it's holding up something very important. And
Dr. Jerome Corsi is going to host the last 2 segments of the broadcast today because I want to give him the floor. If I stay on with him, I'll have plenty to add about the phenomenon of QAnon that millions of people read on the 8chan message boards. And much of what QAnon has put out has turned out to be very accurate information. Some of it has not transpired exactly how QAnon said, but things are fluid, and no one knows the future exactly. I know that we have some really high-level military and intelligence agency sources that have been extremely accurate, in fact, more accurate even, and they're stunning, not just predictions, but exposing huge stories, like Zach, who we should get back on here very, very soon, who's laid out the secrets of the storm. There is a storm worldwide of nationalism against globalism, a storm of populism taking place. We're kind of raising the alarm here right now because you see Trump going after Bezos and the fact that he gets billions a year in taxpayer money and all his and going after Facebook. We QAnon, we know who they are in the intelligence community. We actually know the identity of QAnon in the group. And, of course, Zach, who I'm going to have back on, we should get him back on tomorrow also. I mean, these are sources that let us know what's going on, but they told us Trump would go after, I said this 2 weeks ago, Amazon first. So, Dr. Jerome Corsi, thank you for joining us. We've seen Bezos leave $5 billion today, $40 billion total in Amazon just after Trump criticized it. So the war is on, and QAnon is totally real, as Zach and our, Cape Canaveral sources and Space Command sources have pointed out, and people make jokes about that, but that's the 18th agency. You're here. This is big. Him in 7 hours.
So yes, and I mean, I was on this QAnon decoding. I was on the at CBTS_stream, QAnon has just dropped a series of really important posts in which he's made it clear that Julian, that this whole thing with Facebook and the others.
QAnon said 2 weeks ago that it would be Amazon first. QAnon.
Amazon?
I know QAnon's identity, but
yes,
obviously we're not going to. And I've confirmed as well. QAnon is a group in the Pentagon,
and very close to Donald Trump military intelligence, specifically Army intelligence, I believe. And I've affirmed, working with the people who run the monitored 8chan, QAnon has been using the same trip code, the same IP addresses for his devices. It's the same Q from the very beginning. And when we were decoding him, it was so bizarre. We were decoding
But
Q.
see, you're playing coy here. You know QAnon, so do we. Let's just leave it at that. The point is that Zach is part of the same group, but he's with NASA. The point is that this is real, and the fact that Trump has gone after Bezos, 40 billion lost today. Last week, Zuckerberg. It shows that this is the real deal. Trump's not perfect. He's not omnipresent, but this is the real deal. Infowars.com/show. If you just tuned in, at the first is the real breakdown of all this. Huge info. Yes, QAnon has accurate info, but there have been times they're planning to launch attacks that we backed them off. We have it from their own statements. So we're tracking all this. We have sources just as good or better. And we're just telling you, this is really going on. This is really happening. So now's the time to be maximum vigilant and aware. Got to stop it. Infowars.com, newswars.com. Please spread the links. Please pray for us. So, who don't want to sell us out to radical Islam and the whole leftist agenda. I mean, there are people like that, and they know what the American people are upset, and so the American people have woken up. The American people are involved. The InfoWars audience has been involved. Matt Drudge has been involved. So there's a perfect storm of this stuff aligning. Now, QAnon, a lot of what I saw QAnon say was really good intel and is spot on with other intel I had, and was trying to warn people that they're going to try something in November, but the legs got cut out from under that, so they were unable to do it. But they said on CNN, on MSNBC, at the Aspen Institute, we're taking him out in the next 2 months. That was the signal. Very arrogant signal, but to look confident with their networks that are dwindling. The Saudis have cut off the money to the Clinton networks and the globalist and the traitors in our intelligence agencies that have been bought out by the communist Chinese and the Saudi Arabians, who the Chinese use as a pass-through for the money. This group's been cut off by Benjamin Netanyahu inside Israel. That's why you've seen all that going on. So as I address YouTube and Facebook here, and everybody else, I'm just going to lay this out as best I can. But I basically know from sources who QAnon is. I know that it is someone being given information secondarily from within the private security network. It's like a stay-behind network from the original republic, you could call it, of people inside U.S. intelligence agencies that have a long track record of being patriots and who aren't globalist and who don't like seeing America get screwed over. So I know what QAnon's being given is real intel, and I basically know who is giving him the intel. And this is the best thinking that the very individuals you read about in the Intercept article and others, I'm not going to get into my information, I'm just going to leave it what's already public source, believe the enemy's up to and the chatter they're getting. So they want to take Trump out in November, but we dodge it. And people go, oh, look, QAnon's not right. It didn't happen. Folks, they're all over the news saying they're going to take him out. Then they go, oh, the storm's not real. We see Hollywood going down. We see the top globalists in Hollywood going down. The same folks are trying to take out Netanyahu, that whole leftist globalist arm, and trying to take out Trump. So it's one about Netanyahu. These are the players. They're trying to take him out, take out the people that actually don't want to overthrow Israel. It's in the WikiLeaks that George Soros says we're going to overthrow Israel. We're going to get rid of it. Israel finally saw that. It was like, my God, the Hollywood left is this bad. The Hollywood left, the Jews in the Hollywood left are so anti-Israel, so evil, that they're actually double-crossing with the Islamicists and everybody else. I mean, it's incredible. So that was a big come-to-Jesus moment, no pun intended, for Israel. And people that just promises. It's called sovereignty returning, and yes, this is happening. Yes, this is going on, and yes, they're going to try to counterstrike. So let's go ahead and pull up the article, the video here from this week. Zach calling in. Zach shouldn't even have to call in. He ran to Morocco. We know who he is. I take this intel with all of it like for granted. I'm jaded. I'm not trying to be jaded. I get such incredible intel, and Zach had to leave the country. Zach is who he says he is. And here he is on the show, and it's only got 44,000 views. Again, some little comment about QAnon gets 1 million. That's great. This guy's real. This guy's known to us who he is. There's TV programs with him in it. His voice, his face. We've talked to him. He's on. He gives us this stuff exclusively. And he's had to leave the country to give you this information. This is the real QAnon. He's naming names about Vegas. He's naming names about who's going to provide what. He said 2 weeks ago, we got to find that Google's next. All this stuff. He's not just guessing. He knows. And I think one reason I don't go to him or even call him myself is subconscious cowardice, because I'm not consciously a coward. But when you're really talking to somebody that commanded a bunch of people in special operations and who led forces, and who did the interrogations and who, everything, and they're real, there's like a brushing up against death, because this is dangerous stuff here, okay? I mean, this is real. And everybody knows this is real, okay? Media makes jokes about it. You're getting real intel, okay? You're getting the real stuff here. Because, again, this all can't be put out on mainstream media because it would cause a panic. But for people that are in the know, people that want to know, you're getting it here. And I'm completely humbled that I'm trusted with this information. I'm just up here with Rob Dew, our news director. You know why he's the news director? Call him at 3 a.m. He'll get down here. My wife's up. And if we're honorable, and if we don't hide our hand against our fellow man, like the Johnny Cash song says, we can really do some great things. But we've got to be good people. We've got to be strong. We've got to have courage. We've got to have will. We've got to ask God for guidance. And we got to realize that there's not just evil in this world, there's good. So, QAnon is basically like somebody on the football field, a coach, watching the game, telling you what he thinks the next move is from their own admissions. They're changing plans all the time. That's why predictions are a hard situation. But you have to understand, the takeaway here is we have QAnons on every day saying their names and not saying their names. And we're in this fight together of one race, humanity with red blood. And if America can come back, the rest of the world can come back, and really exciting things can happen. The globalists are manipulating North Korea to embarrass Trump.